Hi, collective. Okay, this is just going to be a little short that I wanted to put out there. It's kind of like notes for me too because I can't find my notebooks. All right, so Spirit was talking to me about spiritual sovereignty, but I was hearing energetic sovereignty, and I just did my starseed reading, right, where I was talking about accessing these new gifts. Like for some of you, like you're being called to go through like a spiritual detox, a cleanse, right, kind of take some time out to be able to heal, to allow these new soul gifts to integrate at this time, especially with this portal that we have going on, the 111 portal through the 11th, right? Because there's some of you, like you do not realize that you're not allowing yourself to heal, especially for those of you that have been closing out like a lot of karmic contracts, a lot of things that were not in alignment with you, that the universe kind of pushed out with this black new moon, that you're needing time to heal, okay? But you're not allowing it. The healing is not happening because of what is going on within this spiritual community and the collective, right? Like I was asking Spirit, I'm like, what is with it? And like, I get it. Like we're so much about talking about the karmics and everything that is going on. Because it's nice to know what was done in the dark and what they're really up to. And it's like kind of our way of like, even though we're not connecting and we're distancing, right? And we're taking this time, but at the same time, it's like, it's the enemy's way of kind of getting in and siphoning your energy and pulling from you too. You don't realize that like what you subscribe to, what you put your energy into is kind of like energy harvesting. That's why I've been coming out the last couple of readings, like be careful about the invocations, be careful about the things that you're doing, right? Like I've been noticing a lot of things within the spiritual community. Like I don't think some people are aware of what they're doing, right? That they're pulling on people's energy, right? And it's like, I get it. It's nice to know what was done in the dark and all of that, but it's being way too much and way too drawn out. And kind of like how it's like certain entities and things like that have been running through. And I was talking about in my reading the other day about the Jesuit spirit, right? That runs through heavily people that are in the religious and in the churches and things like that. How literally like that entity can kind of take over. It's literally like, you know, when you're talking about low vibrational things and like you're constantly talking about like you're starting to manifest it, you're starting to create it, you're starting to give it energy. So I get it. Like, yeah, we're putting the exposure out there, but we're also like blocking this beautiful energy that's coming in, whether you're unknowingly, whether you're one that is out there exposing it, or you're just one that is out there looking for it. That's why it's really, really important, especially when you're going and you're looking for like help. And I get it, without the spiritual community, like I wouldn't have made it through like my breakups and things like that, because it does empower you to know sometimes things that are going on, but you have to know when to like stop it and turn it off and like, all right, I know what's going on. Don't go looking for more answers. And that's why I said for some of you like that, and if this isn't you, then don't claim it. But for some of you, like you don't realize that you're harvesting people's energy and you don't even realize it because of the invocations that you're doing, because you're constantly doing daily uploads like every single day, and you're constantly pulling in on the same stuff. And then you're getting creative and you're like, oh, what did I hear? Let me put more stuff in. You're like, you don't realize that you're okay. I do not think that some realize like they're invoking and feeding kind of the like, y'all, there's like new spirits that have came through, especially with those portals opening up. They're like these new little like entities, just like with the Jesuit spirit, right? And the Ahab, the Leviathan, okay, and the Jezebel we hear so much about. There's others now. And you need to know that like it's feeding it. And you don't realize that things that you constantly talk about too as like a reader or a spiritual teacher or a healer or whatever, you don't realize that you're going to start to manifest those things into your reality. Whether, you know, yeah, I get it. You're putting the teachings out there. You think that you have so much protection because you've called it in. It's not protecting like what all you're saying. You're going to start to materialize those things in your life if you're not careful. So if that might help some, like be careful, like everything, like we need to phase away from that. Okay, so now this is, I feel like I'm doing this in two parts because I'm constantly trying to help my my spiritual teachers and healers and all of that, right? And to show you that you don't realize that you're getting like kind of pulled into like a vortex, right? I get it. Like, and I was looking a lot at like the decks and I was like, Yeah, I know, I get it. There's like spiritual warfare decks. Like I created a spiritual warfare deck too. I didn't publish it, but I have one. But I also knew to use it in moderation and to be careful with it, to not get pulled too much into it, right? Like we need to be careful. Like for some of you, like, and I've talked about this before about cleansing your decks and being more careful and things like that. And there are certain decks out there that have been made by some dark high priestesses, right? So you're invoking that energy, and then when you're on top of that, you're doing an invocation. You need to be careful, okay? And so for some of you, you're really being called to do spiritual detoxes where you need to get away from social medias. You need to get away from where you need to take some time, because there's some new soul gifts that are trying to get online. But if you can't calm down your third eye and crown chakra, like a lot of you, I feel that you have overactive third eye and crown chakras, that it's kind of what makes you want to keep feeding in. It's kind of what could be feeding some of these new entities, right? So by detoxing, it's kind of like you need to stop doing that so you can get more gifts to come online. Okay, so I was talking with Spirit about that. I was going to wait to do this reading until tomorrow because I was already coming off something else, but whatever. When they put it on me, it's not going to stop, so it's out there, whatever. Okay, so spiritual sovereignty is the idea of taking charge of one's spiritual connection in life and trusting in one's inner guidance. It can also be defined as the ability to be benevolent to one's inner world. Okay, so this is what I feel like all of this stuff in the community is taking away from as well, right? So some aspects of spiritual and sovereignty include embodying worth, being in command of one's thoughts and behaviors, and not needing validations from others. So see, that's what I mean. Like so many are like looking for validations of others, of what has been going on, and some have literally gone as far as like manifesting those into their reality. And you don't realize that there's so much of it out there that it is creating a lot of these things to manifest for people that may not even be experiencing those things, because it's getting into like, it's getting so dark. Okay, let me go back to this. All right, so some aspects of spiritual sovereignty include bringing into command of one's thoughts and behaviors, aligning with values, being clear on one's values to make conscious choices, practicing forgiveness, letting go of society's expectations and forgiving oneness of wrong decisions, recognizing interconnectedness, remembering that we are all connected and that healing happens in community. Some steps to reclaim spiritual sovereignty include realizing that one is more than their thoughts, emotions, and physical body, listening to one's inner guidance, aligning with others' values, and practicing forgiveness. Right? Okay, let me read this. So, a core definition of sovereignty is possessing supreme power of authority, the authority of the state to govern itself. When used in context of self, spiritual sovereignty can be experienced as taking ownership of your own life, taking charge of your own spiritual connection, and trusting in your own inner guidance. And that's what I feel like a lot of it's doing, right? And a lot of people aren't spending time in meditation, right? Or like that is really needed. I feel like there's just so much like hype, and I know I get it. There's a lot of stuff going on, and it's nice to have that awareness, but it's like there's a lot of enchantresses and a lot of things that are going on that I don't even think that people are aware of. Like I've been sucked in and pulled into certain these things where I didn't even realize it. Okay, so I know that I know that can be happening to others too, especially when it's like you have your readers that you like to connect with and things like that. And I do not like seeing it when I see readers getting like pulled down and misled and things like that. But the spiritual community has very much been targeted, right? So I'm working on helping clean that up, right? So, all right, that was a little reading that I had, or the little message, not even a reading, a little message that I had. I'm going to do a Lyran transmission next and some other things. So watch whatever you feel guided to, guys. But you might want to take a break and just be careful what you're subjecting your precious mind to. For some of you, you have some very beautiful gifts and new things. Like we need to get out of the past and be focusing on what we want to create, right? We're in 2025 now. Who cares about what the karmics did and all of that? Like it was all to prepare us. And when you change the story, like, yeah, that all empowered me. Like I'm free of that, right? I've been getting like heavy, like hot air balloon symbolisms, right? Like a lot. And I've got this new beautiful deck too that has the hot air balloon on the front, right? So this was my New Year's deck. I'm excited to do a reading. Definitely subscribe to the channel if you have not. Okay, so you can definitely get more messages and guidance. All right, love and light to all of you. Bye, guys.